Hi, I'm Ainsley LeSure, the Richard and Edna Salomon Assistant Professor of Political Science and Assistant Professor of Africana Studies at Brown University. I am a political theorist, and that means that I get to take seriously this question: how should things be? This is a normative question, and we live in a world that often devalues these sorts of inquiries as pie in the sky. But I think that normative questions are just the ones we ought to be asking in times such as these. As a Kogut faculty fellow, I'm working on my second book project entitled The Tricky Business of the Human Question. In it, I explore the possibilities of universal humanism as a political and ethical aspiration in the 21st century. Now, this is an increasingly controversial thing to do in the humanities, as post and transhumanism have become popular in Black, feminist, queer, post-colonial, critical disability, and Indigenous studies. Many scholars within this plural academic community turn to post and transhumanism because supreme notions of the human being seem to be at the center of the existential crisis that confronts the earth and its organisms. I'm particularly interested in Black studies post-humanism, which is grounded in a unique critique of universal humanism. They argue that the so-called cultural and political achievement of universal humanism has always been a ruse, which is exposed as such by the persistent questioning of Black humanity and the brutality that Black people have been made to suffer in the West. They suggest that only a racially specific being, either white or non-Black, can be recognized as human, and in return, acquires standing as a self-possessed, sovereign rights-bearing individual with all the protections this status entails. For those of us who have been racialized by the violent, symbolic forces of Blackness, they suggest that the recognition of our humanity is simply used to deepen our subjugation within hierarchical racial orders, making us just as, if not more, vulnerable to brutality and turning our so-called rights into a travesty. As such, contemporary Black scholars intend that a project, either intellectual or practical, that pursues human recognition as a solution to the perils of Blackness will merely become complicit in the violence of universal humanism. In my project, I'm interested in taking on the challenge of disentangling universal humanism from its assumed anti-Blackness. One of the things that I will do in the tricky business of the human question is to show how some Western thinkers that Black studies scholars write off as engaging in ways of knowing that can't accommodate a truly free Black existence actually share the concerns at the center of contemporary Black studies' refusal of universal humanism. For instance, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, a French phenomenologist writing from the 1940s to 1960s, says that the idea that the security of one's humanity is contingent upon another's recognition of it is simply ludicrous. For Merleau-Ponty, humanity is a certainty, something we know in an instant, and that this certainty, that the other is a human being like myself, is the foundation of any questioning that may take place thereafter. Taking Black studies' critique of human recognition seriously, I ask, how would an articulation of universal humanism grounded in humanity's certainty look? What would it mean to aspire to an ideal of humanity as certainty? And what would humanity as certainty require from us politically? These are the normative questions at the center of the tricky business of the human question, the very questions that I think we should be asking as we confront the disintegration of the global post-World War II human rights order. Thank you.